In the recent chapter of One Piece, we saw that the infamous Joy Boy has finally displayed a significant show of force from 900 years in the past, sending not one or two, but all of the 5 elders packing. This opens up so many possibilities, and it was so exciting to finally see the potency of Haki from the masters. This, however, made me ask a question. What is Haki? And why cannot technology from weatheria harness such a strong will for so long? Before we try and analyze this, I want to leave behind all logic and common sense. Oda has made it clear that things are not as they seem. And I think that this Haki bomb is another instance of him reminding us that there are more levels to this. As far as we have seen from Haki, it is an invisible effect on one's body to the regular person's eye. To them, it looks no different than a regular attack, and the 3 main types of Haki consist of armament, observation, and conquerors. Each section of Haki has one similar aspect of their existence that tie them together, and that is willpower. For example, armament Haki is manifesting one's will as an invisible shield around body parts. This gives increased durability and attack potency, depending on how it's used. You then have observation Haki, where again, one uses their will to observe their surroundings, letting go of the regular human senses to sense to an extreme degree, even to the point of seeing into the future. And the last and most important type, conquers Haki. By far, this ability has displayed a wide range of uses and has been the most powerful section of Haki we have seen yet. Conqueror's Haki has been displayed as the will of the strongest. There have been many examples of those who possess this ability knocking out weak-willed people. You cannot even stand next to someone of this level unless you are determined and have a resolute will. There is more depth to Haki, but for now, these 3 main types are what the basis of Haki knowledge is built on. So, as a quick recap, Haki is the manifestation of one's will to achieve certain effects, and the 3 main applications are an invisible armor, increased perception, even future sight, and lastly, a burst of oppressive will that can knock out weak opponents quickly. Now that we talked a little about the 3 main types of Haki, let's discuss what this video is about. I want to discuss Haki as a physical form of energy that can be manipulated. Whether you see it or not, it has many interactions with the real world. Firstly, the armor that the user creates can be moved around their body or even weapons, and it causes increased durability and damage output. Regular wooden arrows turn into devastating cannon-like projectiles after being coated with Haki. And this was one of the first indicators that Haki as a form of energy has a vast amount of applications. The arrows retain their strength after being coated with Haki for at least a short flight duration. This means that the energy of armament coating is held inside of the object for a certain amount of time, and the time that the effect lasts for must depend on the proficiency of the user. I want to talk about observation Haki and how it is displayed, because it adds more to Haki being a physical energy that one produces with their will. Before we had gotten any real indication that characters were using any type of Haki, we had some odd occurrences. For example, in Mocktown, Blackbeard was able to recognize how strong Luffy was just by a glance. This was an early demonstration of someone with honed observation Haki. Blackbeard was able to gauge Luffy's strength because of the strength of his Haki. This was later confirmed when Blackbeard met Luffy in Impel Down and said that his Haki had grown since the last time that they met. And using observation Haki is not always shown clearly, but it is an ability separate from the human senses that allows the user to track their enemy's Haki, or their voice as it is sometimes referred to. And with a calm enough mind, proficient users can even peek into the future. The way that observation Haki is portrayed, the users of the ability analyze and predict attacks based on the energy they are sensing. This ability has a lot of benefits and drawbacks, but overall it is effective at gathering information on an opponent. And now, for the meaty part of Haki, the most powerful type in all the lands, Conqueror's Haki. This type of Haki you can only be lucky enough to be born with, only appearing in 1 out of a million. And there must be a lot of people in the One Piece world because there's a lot of conquerors. This type of Haki is mostly depicted as a burst of overwhelming energy that can incapacitate those who do not have a strong enough will. It has been shown to also apply into armament, with Conqueror's Haki coating increasing damage output. This type of Haki can even nullify future sight, which has not been shown, but Shanks has the epithet of observation killer. So, if Haki is a physical energy everyone creates, what is the difference between the other types and Conquerors? And why would only 1 in a million be born? If you relate Haki to electricity, a burst of Conqueror's Haki could be similar to a massive discharge of energy around an area of effect. With electricity, you would need a lot of physical components to manipulate the energy to your liking. However, Haki can be freely controlled once the user gains an understanding of their energy. But not everyone is going to have a strong enough will or a suitable body to be able to discharge such a massive amount of their own energy. Every burst of Conqueror's Haki that we have seen has a large area of effect. Now, looking at this as a self-proclaimed One Piece scientist, a regular person who could theoretically forcefully use a Haki burst would potentially expend all of their energy, possibly even dying in the process. Now, I've already said some outlandish things, so let me elaborate more on my thoughts. Firstly, we have seen the pure power of a Haki burst. It forcefully causes people to disconnect from consciousness. It can disconnect Devil Fruit users from their power if the power difference is great enough. It can also kill Observation Haki, which again has not been confirmed, but Shanks holds the title of Observation Killer, so we have yet to see this happen. This type of Haki can be used in many different ways. For example, an emission attack that sends the flow of Haki from a specific point into the target, and internal destruction that when used in tandem with emission can bypass all defense and destroy targets inside by unleashing concentrated energy. This type of Haki is very potent and has a lot of uses that we have yet to explore. And the reason I believe someone who is not supposed to use this Haki would die if they somehow did is because it is a forced release of a large amount of your will and energy, and the released energy is very potent and can easily destroy the surroundings just from its release. Of course, those who are not born with it will never be able to use it, and this is just a theory. Okay, I'll stop. But I don't have much evidence to back up the claim that the wrong person could die, but this point is not as important as the fact that it is a potent energy that some have access to. Now, to take it a step further, we need to introduce the show of force from 900 years ago. The Emperor's Riz from the ruler of the most advanced civilization in the world. The place that forced the strongest man, Gold D. Roger, into tears of laughter, even having him wishing to be alive in this era. The infamous Joy Boys, Haki. And let me tell you, the method used to deliver this Haki burst was not at all what I expected. They used technology from weatheria, of all places. This development is what helped me contextualize Haki in my brain dome. Because as soon as the notion of Haki being potentially harnessed by a third party and redistributed opened up so many outlandish ideas in my head. But the first and foremost thought was that Haki is an energy that can be harnessed using certain methods and tools. The weatheria knots were a super sick form of technology that I really wanted to see more of. The simple notion that a rope could hold the power of the wind was fascinating to me when I first saw it. And I wanted to address my thoughts on the knots because I believe that Haradas, who was originally from Burka, was inspired by ancient knot technology and potentially mentions of the world climate system that would eventually cause him to create weatheria, gathering great minds together to research weather and its manipulation. We also know that Anel, who was originally from Burka as well, gained the power of lightning. He then gathered enough information and value out of Burka before inevitably destroying the entire island in one fell swoop. He then goes on and forces his divine power onto the people of Skypiea just to enact his plan, and then has the workers who served on their gonfall build the giant arc Maxim to reach the moon, which used his devil fruit as a substitute for ancient energy. So, why are the people of the sky so important to Haki being a tangible energy? First, Haradas either got the blueprints or mentions of such technology that spurred him on to leave his home in search of more knowledge about the weather. Since Joy Boy stored his Haki in a knot, and Haradas also used knots to store weather, it is clear that Berka had important knowledge that was not erased during the first Great Flood. That very same knowledge that was preserved because of its elevation was eventually wiped off the sky anyway by Enel, which I imagine was the same reason that Emu floated the surface, to completely erase all traces of powerful knowledge. There are a few key pieces of information that Haradas and Enel discovered in Berka. First, the ability to control the weather. Second, the use of knots to store immense and powerful energy. Third, the existence of an infinite power source which Enel said he had to substitute with his devil fruit power. And fourth, the existence of an advanced civilization in space which Enel referred to as the true land of the gods. And this is what makes me think that the eternal flame is a derivative of Haki. And I understand this is a big claim, but from what I have seen, it is possible that the ancient kingdoms spent a lot of time studying Haki and its origins. I mean, they found out how to effectively store it for almost a millennia. And it is also important to note that the knot technology seemingly originated from the same place that Enel found out about an infinite power source unrivaled by any other, which he had to substitute with his devil fruit. You would need no less than the eternal flame to operate a global climate controller, and after seeing firsthand just how immensely powerful Haki can be, and how the undying wills of people can be stored with a simple rope, it is safe to assume that with the vast knowledge of the ancient kingdom, they were able to harness this limitless energy that existed in all living beings to create the eternal flame. They were also the original masters, and Conquer's Haki could have been present in a lot more people. But as a last-ditch effort to save the kingdom, Joy Boy along with his allies could have cut off access from more powerful types of Haki and immortalized their abilities with the devil fruits, and pushed on their will through the devil fruits and other means to fight the battle 900 years in the future. Their use of Haki was top tier. We still do not know everything that the ancient kingdom was capable of, but if they can essentially harness someone's will, then what they can do with it is vast and unknown. It has also been stated many times that devil fruits carry a will of their own, so it is possible that devil fruits were also made possible by Haki, which is likely why powerful Haki can cut off the will of the devil fruit from your own will, taking away its powers. It is said that a devil is housed when you eat a devil fruit, so Haki might be forcefully deactivating that connection, taking away your powers. Their use of technology was absolutely incredible, and back then they harnessed a limitless energy to power all of their creations, and the most powerful and seemingly endless source of energy is Haki. It has no origin or organ that houses it. It is simply described as the strength of one's will being an energy completely separate from their own bodies, that which can be manipulated, shot out, and reshaped to protect, attack, and gather information. Now, my next point might sound crazy, but Haki might exist in a separate realm where it is unlimited and exists all around. We know of the existence of other realms because of the underworld, commonly mentioned by Brook, and Top Musica, who exist in the dream realm of the Uta Uta no Mi. And while this example is non-canon, it still furthered the idea of other realms in the One Piece world. The realm of Haki could explain a lot of insane powers of Haki users, like Future Sight, if the realm exists beyond space and time. It is shown that Future Sight shows the user a very clear picture of the future without breaking the timeline. If Haki were to exist beyond time, tapping into the future would be an easy task, connecting those who use the most powerful types of observation to see the version of Haki that surrounds the world in the future, with these futures not being set as outcomes. As the timeline is being weaved together, and Haki is being weaved in and out of these realities. By analyzing the Haki that is to come, they can essentially see the future. Regular observation Haki analyzes the Haki of another being, so by broadening your view, they could potentially see Haki that does not yet exist on the timeline, hence the future sight. This could also provide an explanation for the devil fruits. If they originated from Haki, then their potential is limitless. It can explain the so-called devils in the fruits, which are just powerful wills that manifested their powers for others to use. And once the user dies, they will temporarily go into this Haki realm to travel, and then they settle into a fruit until the next user eats it. And using the logic I just used for future sight, let's talk about another timeline related ability, the Toki Toki no Mi. If future sight is peering into future Haki that exist in an undetermined timeline, then the Toki Toki no Mi could work in a similar way. The users of the fruit might be temporarily sent into the realm of Haki, which exists beyond space and time, and then they are dropped off in the future on the timeline once it is stabilized. This means that they cannot go into the past as the timeline has been set. Again, I understand that many of my points seem really out there, but like I said at the beginning of the video, logic and common sense needed to be thrown out to start an interesting conversation. Because Oda opened up our imagination once again after showing us this not Haki bomb. I did my best to speak on what I have experienced while enjoying this story, while still throwing away logic to try and piece together just how powerful Haki is. I mean, it was stated that only Haki can conquer the seas after all. It was a lot of fun doing research for this video, and the crazy ideas I brought up might stay that way. But using already established knowledge to try and understand Haki a bit more was fun, and a lot of these crazy ideas were fun to think about. There's still a lot we don't know, and I'm sure a lot of my points just sound crazy. So I would like to hear your thoughts on my points and what you think about Haki and its possibilities. And potentially in the future, I'll follow it up with more in-depth. That's gonna be all for today. The wind is feeling nice as we sail through the rough oceans, and you're welcome to join us as we continue to conquer these waves. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.